So today we're gonna know the difference between authorization and authentication. So this is me, Goransh. Now I'm telling you the difference between authentication and authorization. Authentication is basically authenticating the user if it's correct or if it's real or not, and authorization is just giving him the access to some data. So if I am a user in a bank and I am allowed to access and authorize a limited set of data, and if I am working at a bank for a bank, I can access more of the data as compared to a user and authorize more of the data as compared to the user because I have more power as I'm using it as I'm in the bank. So now we'll see the demonstration of the task authorization and authentication. Yeah. Hello everyone, my name is Goransh. So we're gonna run the authorization task and demonstrate it. So here is the .NET run command, and you will see the host, that is 5001 localhost. This is the post key which is we're gonna simultaneously see with postman in the authorization part. So we'll set up first. We'll set up the collection here. This is the collection for authorization task, and then we'll check the local one environment which we have set in the environment section with the port number 5000. Yeah, so you can see it's the port number 5000, and now we'll go to the collections, and then now we'll start testing it. This is the get all users. Now we'll authorize it and you'll get all the users in the database. Second will be get users data that are in admin. The admin role is specified here. We'll send it. We get only one ID, and this is the admin role. Next is the get user by ID. So I'll put the ID here. Yeah, it's the ID. Now we get the user by the ID, and then next is posting a new user. Now we'll post a new user and see if the data gets updated on the PostgreSQL. So yeah, we'll post the data by changing the first name, the last name, and the user, and the password too. So we'll keep it anonymous, and the first name will be Nick or Nikhil, I can say. Yeah, we'll change the password to 1234. So we'll just change the okay. We'll change the username also or email. We'll keep it as Nick, and now we'll send it, and yeah, it's updated. So we'll now see the PostgreSQL if it's updated or not. Yeah, so we'll refresh it, and you can see the Nick made the ID number 32, and it's made. Now we'll go to the postman again and test the other commands of the request pending. Now we'll come to updating a user. So we'll send the command here. By putting the ID, then we'll check the body and send it. So it responds with 200 OK. Now we'll go to the delete option. We'll put the ID here and we'll send. It says deleted. We'll check on the post 2 after this. Now we come to the post patch up and patch update. So yeah, 200 OK it receives. Now we'll check the command on now we'll check the data if it's deleted on Postgre that we deleted. Now yeah, here we'll refresh it, and you can see the 28 ID is removed, that the 28 ID is deleted. So now that's it from the backend. Now we'll skip to the code. So now we'll see the user model.cs file, and here first we have the properties and ID, email, first name, last name, password, has description, role, created date and modified date. So ID is the unique identifier, email is the string, first name is also string, last name is string, password hash is a string because it's hash, it will use to hash the password. Description is nullable and we can allow the user to use it without description. A role is the role of the user, and create date, modified date. There are constructors and to facilitate different ways of initializing user model, and there's a namespace for robot control API, and Now we'll go to the user data access. Now we'll see the user data access.cs. Here the obviously the namespaces are given for the uh, Microsoft USB core. Then we have user data access class, and this class contains a method to interact with the users and includes a private constant connection string which holds the connection with the PostgreSQL database. Then we have the method get users. It retrieves all the users from the users table in database, and it executes the SQL query to select all users, read the result, and maps each row to a user model object which is added to the list and returned. Then is a method update user, and update user is just inserting a new user in database on the provided user model object. And then we have a get user by email, and in that in the update user it executes an update statement to modify user information also. And in the method insert user by email, we'll see that it inserts a new user in the database. Sorry, retrieves a user by email address from database, I'm really sorry, and executes a SQL query with parameterized email address and maps the result also. Then we have method get user by int id, get user by id, so it retrieves the user by the id from database. And then we have the next method that will be obviously the method which is delete user by id. From the user by get user by id, we have it also executes a SQL query the parameterized user id and maps the result to a user module. Then we have the delete user by id. No, so this is used for deleting the user from the database, and based on their id, that id we choose, and it executes then SQL delete statement with the parameterized user id to remove the user from the user table. There is one thing in common in every request, that is the properties mentioned, and the toString command, which is not command, basically toString is used for converting variables into string. Now we'll jump to the basic uh, authentication file. So there are namespaces that will be from the ASP.NET Core obviously. So this is the class inherited basic authentication handler class, which is inherited from the authentication handler. Here we have the namespaces from the ASP.NET Core obviously, and then we have the authentication handler, which is inherited from the handler class, basic authentication handler class. Basically, it's inherited from that. Then we have uh, the constructor here. The constructor initializes the basic authentication handler class. It injects the instance of iOption, iLogger, URL encoder, and iSystemClock. These are dependencies needed for configuring the options, logging the URL logging and URL encoding and accessing the system clock. We have used the async method here, which will retrieve the current endpoints from the HTTP context and then extract the authorizing header from HTTP request. And it will be basic, so it will be from base64 encoding, and also using the UTF-8, which is used for decoding and retrieving the credentials to string. Then we are using the bcrypt, which converts the password into hash password, so that obviously for the security reasons here. And if the bcrypt is not performed, the whole process is unsuccessful and it won't authorize the whole thing. And now we are ready to jump on the claims. So basically, claims are nothing, just it's a piece of information about the user. It can be his name, first name, last name, user role. It can be the information about the user. And claims are assertions made by the identity provider or authentication system about the user. Then we have the claims identity. Claims identity is the is consisting one or more claims, which are the pieces of information about the authenticated entity. And then we have the claims principle. Claims principle is an object security framework that represents an authenticated entity and contains information about the entity in the form of claim. So that's it. Thank you so much.